Welcome to Dying to Know, where we open up about everything that comes with losing a loved one.
Because the only thing that's worse than death is not being able to talk about it.
We're your bereavement babes, Leah and Rachel, and today we're talking about relationships.
Are you excited to be talking about relationships today?
I am. I feel like it's lots of types of relationships. I feel like in this episode we'll touch on like friendships that probably end badly. We'll talk about like romantic relationships and just how ambiguous grief shows up there. Also like family members who have falling outs and things of that nature that we'll deep dive into. Any examples in your life?
Right away. I think, and I feel like it's a quote or like a saying that you see a lot that comes up is sometimes those best friend relationships hurt more, or those breakups hurt more than actual breakups. Like your best friends feel like your soulmates. Yeah. So like a friend breakup is sometimes one of the hardest ones.
Absolutely.
I had one in college that definitely felt so horrible and was such a like epic loss.
Yeah.
So I feel like going through those last couple of months, and it's funny because we reconnected and we're good friends now.
Yeah.
But I'll talk to her about it and I'll be like, yeah, like we were friends for like years. And she's like, it was 6 months.
Oh, 6 months? But it felt like years?
It felt so long because it was a person that I had been with through so much, like all of my college years. And I feel like those college years, you grow and are experiencing so many new first experiences that she had been such like a part of.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that breakup hurt, and it was very, very hard. And it was like we also had such a big friend group, so it was just like a lot felt like so affected, and I felt like I didn't have a go-to person.
Okay.
Like in her for a lot. And then as we like slowly reconnected, we like kind of like tracked of like how long it was, and I'm like, yeah, like it had to be at least a year. And I think it was like 6 months, which is something we laugh about today. And it's amazing that we were able to connect, because I know as we talk about ambiguous grief, that's not really always a situation.
Yeah. Like you never really get the closure.
Yeah, a lot of that is about like, closure. So it is nice that it has a happy ending, this story.
Yeah. That you guys all made up. Oh, I have too many to count. But I'll start off by saying there are types of relationships. Mm-hmm. So we have like romantic, platonic, and I also just wrote family. I'm sure that falls into some other category.
Platonic?
But possibly. I don't know. I'm not smart enough here in that. I think so. That's a platonic relationship. And then with romantic, to tie in like the ambiguous grief that you could experience, like ghosting, divorces, cheating, and so many things that can happen in those romantic relationships, which reminded me of like a lot of songs. So I am a big like R&B person. I love to hear a love song.
Yeah.
And I know how people are like, do you believe this is true? Or like, and not all songs that people sing are like firsthand experiences, but music is so personal to everybody. Yeah. And like when I was thinking of this episode, I thought about like SZA's last album, SOS, and then Kill Bill, how big that was.
I love that song.
Yes. And when I first heard the album, that wasn't my favorite out of the album, but it felt like
that's so funny because it was my favorite. And
yes.
There was an Instagram where you know how like they associate songs with like the signs, and Kill Bill got Aries, and I was like, yes, the universe knows.
But you know, she talks about like her boyfriend left her, so she's going to kill him, and then she's also killed the girlfriend. Yeah. And at this point, she'd just rather be alone than unhappy. And then at the end, she just says, I'd rather be in hell at that point. So it just shows the evoke of emotions about how relationships can really feel to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, like Whitney Houston always has done a love ballad. You got Beyonce, If I Were a Boy. Jasmine Sullivan is Busting Windows. Like it goes on and on about how heartbreak is a visceral pain and some sort of like just ache and grief in your life. And these songs they become so popular because we can relate to it.
Yeah.
And they become your own soundtrack or personal. Like even during the holidays, I remember me and Ariel, my bestie, was up late. And I remember she was like, what should we be listening to? And I was like, you know what's a good soundtrack? Waiting to Exhale. And that's all like either breakup love songs or good love songs. But like I'm singing it like I'm a 50-year-old woman that just went through a divorce. And that's not true. But I can relate to some of those relationships that took place in life.
No, 100%. I feel like music is such a good connector because we posted on our Instagram like
Mm-hmm.
a sad song that is great for crying, and that was probably our best post ever.
Yeah.
So many people were willing to interact because everyone has that like go-to song for it, and
Exactly.
like I feel like everyone does have that go-to love song that like if you're driving in your car you're blasting, singing like a 57-year-old old woman.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is such a great connector when you need to associate with music or like what your feelings or like the love language of sending a playlist.
Yes. Oh my God, that is truly a love language. But I also like too on that post, people were saying like, well, it depends on the cry. Like a happy cry,
yeah,
a sad cry, breakup, like you got different emotions, and I love that music can be the soundtrack to our lives. But also outside of the romantic side of things, friendship breakups, like you were saying in the beginning with your friend who like you guys had stopped being friends for 6 months. Would you consider that like an actual breakup? Like without getting into too many details,
Yeah.
not trying to make you like spill a tea here. But like, did you say like it's a friend break? Like, did you just feel like you were growing apart? Was there like some sort of like...
Oh no, there was an event. There was a big event.
There was an event.
Yeah, there was a breakup.
Okay. So it was a real like breakup.
Yes.
Okay. And then also earlier this year in January, the Shade Room had posted this prompt.
Okay.
And the question was, what's a common downfall of friendships? So I thought it was really good. It had 18,641 comments. So apparently a lot of people out there are going through some friendship breakups. And one that really got a lot of likes or like stuck out to me was, I'm probably going to fumble this at, but I think is Kat Francis. Sorry, girl, if I got that wrong. But we'll tag her. But she put lack of reciprocity, which I can completely understand.
Wait, you're going to have to define reciprocity for me.
It's just reciprocation. So what I'm giving, are you giving out? So like
okay.
if something feels like one way only, like I'm the one that's always calling and checking on you or like attending your events, supporting you, and then you don't give it back to me.
Okay.
So like, I don't know if you've ever been in a friendship where it feels like somebody's always calling you and they're dumping, but they're never asking you about how you feel. Or when it is your turn to share, it's kind of like, oh, girl, that's crazy. Like, that sucks. But let me tell you what happened. And you're like, well, damn, like, do you really care? Or did you just want to get it off? Get something off your chest. And it's okay to dump, but like also ask people if they have capacity.
Back and forth.
Yeah. And then another one comment that was written under there that I just screenshotted that I thought was good, that was, forgetting that your friends are humans. I'm guilty of this. Forgetting your friends deal with loss, grief, sadness, illness, being overwhelmed, feeling not good enough, becoming fatigue, etc. Or of course we want to be there for them and vice versa, but sometimes an ignored phone call or canceled plan goes beyond our feelings, which I thought was good because I often say like life is lifing, or I just been really busy, forgive me. And I'm personally someone that gets anxiety anytime I get a phone call.
Yeah.
I don't like speaking on the phone often. I prepare like a voice note or a message. And sometimes I avoid answering a call because if I'm in a mood, then I don't want to take it out on you.
Yeah.
Or if I feel like I'm rushed, or, you know what I mean? Just to be like, let me be aware of this person. I don't know why they're calling. So a lot of times if I get a text following up, like, hey, I really need to see this, or like I was just doing this FaceTiming you because I want you to see this dress, is a little bit better. But I thought they were good, you know, examples about
No, I
friendship
agree, because I
breakups.
feel like it's like almost piggybacking off of it, because I think one of the things that makes the friend, because I feel like I have a very close core and I'm friendly with like a lot of other people, but like with my core, I feel like one of the things that makes us the strongest is understanding each other's communication ways.
Yeah.
Where like I know like maybe not call you, but I can send you like a 5-10 minute voice note and you'll eventually listen to it. Or my best friend Twinkle, who lives across the country, we can send each other memes all day on one app, and then I'm telling her my like life crisis problems on text messages, and then we're like Snapchatting each other randomly.
Yeah.
So I feel like, but yeah, I don't have to call her every day, even though like she's my best friend. I feel like learning how each other communicates is a really big one.
Absolutely.
Because you don't want that unwanted phone call if you like aren't ready for it.
And just beyond communications, people capacity. Like now if I have a friend and they're like, you never answer the phone, I'm like, this is nothing new.
Yeah. Like I feel like you should know like Lily does not answer the phone.
But now this is the friend. This is just who I am. You can't make me any different.
No, I remember talking to you guys and I'm like, yeah, like I get a phone call and I feel like I have to answer it, and then I'll be on the phone with whoever for like 2 hours. You're like, you know, you don't have to answer the phone. I'm like, are Are you sure? Are you sure?
Absolutely. Or like state in the beginning of the phone call, like I like to ask like certain things too.
Yeah.
Or like just how you were saying, like the way people communicate and just how the capacity of what you can really deal with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think really learning your friend is important and not laying them out for different things means a lot. But also if you aren't aligned and you need to like break up, then it has to happen.
Yeah, I do believe that maybe not everyone's supposed to be in your life forever.
Yes.
Which I feel like is sometimes why I have a shallow opinion on ambiguous grief when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know how you feel about it.
Like what
ambiguous loss when it comes, I guess, to relationships.
I feel like it could be hard, like how you were saying in the beginning about your friend who you had stopped talking to for 6 months. And I know they say like it's 3 reasons someone's in your life. It's like for a reason, a season, or for a lifetime.
That's interesting.
So I agree. I don't think everyone is for a lifetime. Sometimes people are just lessons, and then sometimes it's just inconvenience. Like you have work friends, and then you have like when you leave that job, are we really friends outside of work, or did the job just connect us because we could talk shit about people, and then now that you quit, there's no interest here, no real relationship. So I think the foundation of the relationship matters. But I think the hardest thing for me during a friend breakup, because I'm loyal to a fault, is like betrayal. Yeah. I think when you cross a line with people, then when they've set a boundary or they've been good to you, it's just kind of like, outgrow me because like we went to school together or we worked together. But if you really do some fuck shit, like that to me.
Have you experienced it?
Yes, I have experienced it. Unfortunately. And it really is like, it's a visceral pain because you go like, with friends, you're a little bit more vulnerable. You open up. And like even in romantic relationships, you are transparent and you're sharing things with people. And you think that that's a form of intimacy. So you feel like I've been intimate enough with this person that they would respect what I've shared enough to not disrespect me or betray me in this way. And then people do it and it's like a slap in the face. But I've had to learn, and it's been a hard lesson for me to kind of like learn, and a big pill to swallow, is that everything that happens to you is not about you.
Yes.
Whew. And that to me is very hard to like sit with because it happened to you. So it's like, how is it not about me? But it's that person's mindset, how they problem solve, and the tools that they had when that situation arose, and that was their best default. And it doesn't mean you need to forgive them or bring them back into your life. They did it to you. It's fucked up. Keep it moving. But you also just have to recognize, like, I can't take it too personal. And that, to me, is, like, the hardest part.
Yeah, no, that's actually so crazy because I just read a book that was recommended by a friend, The 4 Agreements, and one of the agreements is, like, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
And they even say it's, like, one of the hardest things, obviously, to do. But again, and I think we say this in a couple episodes, we don't know what everyone else is coming with.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Especially, like a friend betrayal, like this person that you've shared absolutely everyone. Like, how could it not be about you if you're betraying me so hard to the point where you're now questioning if you should be in my life?
Yeah.
But yeah, they say it's one of the ways to like kind of almost make your own life easier is to recognize if someone else is putting this much energy into something, it's probably because they're having such a huge problem in their own life.
Exactly. And they're just projecting on you. And you're just the person that gets shit on, which is the worst.
No, it's hard.
Yeah, because I feel like
it's hard to let things roll just up.
It is. And then I feel like then that causes people to have like barriers up, and then you end up possibly pushing people who are good for you away.
Yeah, because you then lose, I feel like you do lose a little bit of trust in people.
Do.
Like, do you have a fear of like, should you be sharing this much with someone?
And then people take their time in relationships to build that. So the fact that like, not everyone is like spilling in the beginning, and some people that is their attachment styles, but others who take a little bit more time like me. And then once it happens, it's kind of like, well, damn, that was really low. Yeah. And also just disrespectful. But I think a boundary that I put in place that I think is helpful is like also not calling everybody your friend. Everyone's
I remember when you were talking about the tierness of friends.
Yeah.
This is so interesting.
There are tiers to it, and also just different names. So like associate, colleague, ally, buddy, confidant, roommate, neighbor, like those aren't dirty words.
Yeah.
And then also it's also safer sometimes to be just the associate,
just your colleague.
Yeah, just the coworker, without going that extra mile to say friend, because that comes with something personally that I feel like is just bigger.
And also I think on the opposite end, even like, I know it's so corny now, but like when I talk to Twinkle, I'm like, we can't refer to anyone else as our best friends. Like, we are each other's best friend. Like, I would be sad if you call someone else your best friend. But I feel like it holds so much more weight now, especially being older. I'm like, because we grew together, so I earned that title.
I got you. Are you possessive? Are you one of those people like, this is my friend, and then if she introduces you to other friends, you're like, no?
Not that way, but sometimes she'll be like, oh, yeah, and I went out with my friend so-and-so. I'm like, I did not know her name. Like, who is this friend that I don't know? But yeah, no, I think we joke around like, oh, like, that's not your best friend. Like, I'm your best friend. So I feel like that word has gotten more meaning as like you've gotten older and you've been through all these trials and tribulations with someone where like I feel like it holds a lot of weight. Like, you earn your best friend titles.
Damn, that's so hard for me because I think by default, when people ask me, like, who is your best friend, I always just go to Ben. I'm like...
But there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
your brother. Ben's wrong, your brother.
Oh, yeah, Ben's my brother. But I also think it's my safe answer because people take titles
They do.
very seriously. I have learned that so many times to the point that now I have best friends. It is plural for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some friends, and they know who they are, because I know they listened and heard me say it and been like, she didn't say my name. But I feel like they're very possessive.
Yeah.
Like, they are like, I don't know this friend. Who is this friend to you? Like, do I need to meet her? Like, I think I also have a weird thing about, like, mixing friend groups.
Oh, yeah?
I just think, like, personalities are too strong where I'm like, that's just not going to work. But I also like it because I feel like mixing friend groups shows a perspective of you as a person.
Yeah.
Like, how is she friends with him?
Yeah.
Or with her? And that makes it more interesting when I'm the guest at someone's party. Like, oh, this your best friend? Let me talk to her. Like, what does Rachel see in you as a friend where I'm like, oh, this is Rachel's sensitive side, or like, this is her Aries fire sign coming out because this friend is like a little bit more aggressive or something like that. But for me, I hate those like type of gatherings. I think that would scare me.
No, I also think as I've gotten older, like, yes, I like will say Twinkle is my best friend, but I also feel like friendship has gotten tighter.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like even the word friend has become a bigger thing. Or like, I call my cousin my other half because even no matter what's going on, I know she's going to be there like my other half. So I feel like, I mean, I don't want to put titles on friendships and everything. Like, everyone knows who they are. But I do feel like your group gets like tighter and closer. And you do realize like, these are my work friends. These are my going out friends. Like, it's like a chiller vibe.
No, I would agree. Like, I have like back home friends that are like specifically like, we grew up, these are day ones. You know what I mean? No one's ever going to take the spot of them. And then it's also, as, you know, like after leaving home and going to school, I have like Philly friends. And then I have like New York friends. And then New York friends is like friends that I worked with. And you know what I mean? Like friends that I'm going through life with. But to your point about like the groups getting tighter, I just feel like with age, that makes a lot of sense. Because I know one of the reasons about like friendships, breakups, someone just said maturing and healing. And seeing how people grow at different rates, I think that's also been eye-opening to me because I'm seeing things from one point of view. Like, I don't like when people complain a lot about stuff or just say like, well, these were the cards I dealt. And I'm like, well, you kind of created your own drama. Like, life brings a lot of drama in general. So like, find some peace somewhere. So that annoys me. But I also have to realize what I saw at 30 and 31, they might not see until 40. They might not ever see it. It's a choice to grow. And I think that's been one of the like biggest things in friendship breakups for me, where I'm just like, we're just not aligned anymore. And like, the love is still there. I still care about you and anything going forward, but I just can't see this like progressing further. So like, other people that might be newer in my circle, I might be closer to, and it doesn't like depend on the tenure that I've known you. If we're not mentally on the same vibration, it's really just kind of like, we cool.
Which I think a lot of people say it's okay to miss someone that you know you no longer need in your life.
Yes. I think that's cool. But also for like friendship breakups and coping, I think the number one thing for me is no revenge.
No revenge?
Yeah, because I'm petty.
Oh, yeah.
So I just feel like if someone betrays me or like upsets me, then I'm just like, I want to destroy your life. Or I'll at least look up ways to do it. But then I'll also go like, well, God is the biggest
karma,
that
karmatic.
anyone could ever get. Like
Yeah.
me doing something petty, like stealing a plate out your microwave, will give me satisfaction. And like, where do you order those? What size do you get? That's an inconvenience. And I feel like when people inconvenience my life, I love to inconvenience them. Like when people cut me off when walking and stuff, I'd be like, I hope they trip today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want something to happen to them, but I don't like purposely go out and trip people. But I'm like, God's going to do a bigger job on your life. Like, because I'm one of his favorite. So he's really going to rip you a new asshole. And that brings me pleasure to know that. So I just encourage anyone out there, like, no physical harm.
Yeah,
no bad blood. Just kind of be like, it is what it is. Like, you're losing in life and I'm winning. It's just kind of how I see it. Yeah. What about you? Do you feel like you, during that time, specifically with that friend or just any other breakup, do you feel like you have a good coping mechanism?
A good coping. Honestly, talking it out with a lot of people. Like, I remember just like word vomiting my experience with everyone and trying to understand.
Did you say vomiting?
Word vomit?
Oh,
no, I wasn't just like puking. No, I guess I couldn't understand it, which I guess maybe ambiguous loss. Like I couldn't understand like what was really going on.
Yeah.
Because we were also like a lot.
Younger.
Yeah. So it was just like I couldn't grasp it. So I feel like being able to talk about the experience with other people and also it's just like I think time also matures you into like figuring out like what went wrong. Because I think in reality, I had a conversation with Twinkle, my best friend, about it. And she's like, well, I would have felt hurt in that situation too. And like she kind of like showed me what my friend's perspective might have looked like. And I'm like, yeah. And I feel like that's what helped me initiate like, and that's how we started the conversation.
Yeah.
I do feel like lucky enough where I don't have too much of like ambiguous loss where people have just kind of like walked out in like such an abrupt-ish way. So I feel like I might not be the best for giving advice and like coping mechanisms. I feel like I've also outgrown revenge a little bit because someone told me it's like doing nothing just shows like they weren't worth caring about the situation.
Exactly.
They weren't worth giving them any more of your time that they've already taken from you. So because of course I always want to go to that too and be a little bit petty and the thoughts that come to mind that like first, but I think and it's funny because it's the friend who I did broke up with, or the friend,
Oh, she was the one that gave that advice?
Gave the advice, she's just like, do nothing. Like, it's not even worth your time.
Exactly. But I like how you said, like, the different point of view. I think getting perspective from other people.
Yeah,
it helps remind you.
Because sometimes you need to be out of the experience to really understand the experience.
Yeah, like have somebody repeat it back to you is very helpful for me. Or just be like, Leah, then that's just not where she is. And I'm like, you're right. I just have to accept this person
and again,
for who they are.
Going back to what you said even before, like you don't know where someone else is coming from.
Yes. And their experiences help mold them. I have a theory about how people are made up of 4 different parts. So I just feel like that helps sometimes.
Are you going to tell us the parts?
Sure. I never remember them, but they're in my notes. So let me read them. This theory is real, okay? So don't steal it.
Is it a made up?
It's a made up
It's a made up Leah theory.
Okay. And it's in my notes as 4 parts. Okay, so I think people are made up of these 4 parts. One, they are who they are. Like you're born with some certain characteristic, personality trait. Like it just is. Like the stars were aligned, the planets were in some place, and you just were born this way. Second part is your family. So it doesn't mean biologically, but like the people who raised you, your siblings, cousins, just how you were brought up. Like you are a piece of mom and dad or grandma or somebody. Third part is your experiences. So, people could be like, bad things like assaulted or like get their PhD or never graduate high school. Like these experiences help mold you as a person, being locked up or whatever. And then the last part is your environment. Yeah. So like different countries have different customs, which I always see in 90 Day Fiance. Like when those women be yelling at the men in the Middle East and I'm like, that is the characteristic of their environment. Like, you can't be over there challenging them like that. Then that's not the person for you. But outside of 90 Day Fiance, I just feel like people are products of their environment. Good or bad, however you see it.
No, I think I agree with those 4 parts. I like that.
Oh, okay. You should coin that.
I won't steal it. No.
Exactly. No, maybe no one can steal it. It's on camera now.
It could be a cute little heart Instagram post.
Yes, 4 parts. It's my theory. I'm telling you. I hope everyone relates, or I'm curious if anyone wants to, like, challenge me and there's another part. But
come at her in the comments.
Don't do that. We all love peace over here. Today's episode is dedicated to Angela, Big Ange, Joyce, Rayola. Again, we're your bereavement babes, Leah and Rachel, and we'll see you on the other side.